Guilty. Donald Trump found guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. All 34 are felonies. Donald Trump has now been convicted of 34 different felony crimes by a jury of his peers in Manhattan.
Donald Trump has officially been convicted on all 34 counts of falsifying business records in his Manhattan trial that has been going on for the past 7 weeks. The jurors only deliberated for about 12 hours, which is actually a really short amount of time for 34 counts, which tells us the prosecution laid out their argument in a convincing and incredibly efficient manner. I'll lay out all the facts in a second, but I was thinking earlier, I think the Maga loyalists would count this as a win, whether Trump is convicted or not. If he's not convicted, they're going to say, oh, this is proof that he's innocent and the deep state is after him. And since he's been convicted, we're going to hear them start to say, oh, this is proof that the deep state is after him. This only vindicates him. So they have a way out for everything. If you watch my videos at the rallies, you'll know that no matter what I bring up, they have a way out for everything. But CNN reads, Donald Trump stares ahead as guilty verdict is read. Donald Trump is staring straight ahead as the verdict is read in court. Trump found guilty of falsifying business records and hush money scheme. Judge Merchan denied the Trump attorney's request for an acquittal, and sentencing has been set for July 11th. That is the date, July 11th.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. But the real
That was Trump outside of the courthouse right after hearing he was guilty on all 34 counts. He looks incredibly beat, he looks incredibly tired, and he immediately began blaming it on Biden. Again, none of this is Biden's fault. And remember, Fox News and Trump's Maga sycophants have counted Trump innocent since before the case even started. Every single day, we see Sean Hannity, we see Steve Bannon, we see Laura Ingraham coming on and making sure none of the facts from the case actually penetrate into their Maga bubble. And what does this mean for the 2024 election? Well, we don't exactly know, but a CNN poll conducted in April as the trial's jury was being selected found that only 24% of registered voters who support Trump said they might even reconsider their support if Trump were convicted of a crime. Now, CNN uses the word only, but 24%, that is a massive number right there. I mean, elections are won at the margins. Even a 2-3% switch or people abstaining from voting could decide the election in President Biden's favor. Now, I think what would hurt even more is if we saw convictions on all 4 of the cases. A lot of people might disagree with this, but I think this case is actually one of the weaker out of the other cases, like his election interference case and the document case. But I will say Joe Biden being able to use this convicted criminal tag as a campaign tool will very much so help him. I do think this will hurt Donald Trump, but as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the actual facts of the case haven't really seemed to penetrate into the Maga bubble, but that's not who we're targeting. We're targeting those independent voters at the margins that decide election. And when I say this case was the weakest, I don't mean in a legal sense, obviously, since Trump was convicted. I mean in a optic sense. When Joe Biden is looking to attack Donald Trump on something, it's way easier to say, oh, this guy stole and kept classified documents. He showed other people these classified documents and he was convicted for it. Or, oh, he was convicted for trying to subvert the will of the American people. But in general, we should all be happy to finally see a powerful person being held accountable for their actions. Maga likes to paint this picture of poor Donald Trump being persecuted by the radical left or by crooked Justice Merchan or whatever they want to say, but in reality, this is one of those rare times in America where we see someone powerful actually being held accountable through our legal system. And yesterday, before the verdict even came in, Maga sycophants were already telling Donald Trump to flee. They were saying he needs to flee from New York City. Newsmax host Todd Starnes said, President Trump needs to get out of New York City right now. Fly back to Mar-a-Lago or another state that will provide him safe harbor, like he's in some combat zone. And Peter Heinlein on Twitter said, the mood in MAGA land right now, run, bro. And I'm guessing over the next few weeks, we're going to see more MAGA cope. We're going to see more chaos on Truth Social as everybody melts down and does mental gymnastics about how Donald Trump isn't actually guilty. He's just being persecuted by the deep state, even though he was found guilty on all 34 counts by a jury of his peers that went through the process of voir dire. At the beginning of the trial, if you guys remember, people were weeded out if they said they couldn't set their biases aside. So this was a fair jury. It was a fair judge. Justice Merchan, multiple times said that evidence that was prejudicial towards Donald Trump will not be allowed in court. He didn't allow the full access Hollywood tapes in, the recordings of them. He didn't allow the information that Melania had just had a son when Trump cheated. There was a lot of evidence that Justice Merchan did not let in. This entire trial was fair, and don't let MAGA tell you otherwise. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment a blue heart, and comment what impact you think this will have on the 2024 election. What does this mean? Will it affect the outcome at all? Are the other cases more important? I really like hearing from you guys. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and have a great day.
34 felony charges for former President Donald J. Trump, convicted of 34 felony charges having to do with falsifying business records to cover up hush money payments to Stormy Daniels. An unbelievable moment in American history. The jurors are now being asked about their agreement with these charges, and they are responding yes. Trump has a frowned expression on his face as the verdict reading is completed. He is not moving. The former president of the United States, now a convicted felon, having been found guilty of 34 felony charges by a jury of his peers in Manhattan, New York.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. But the real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. You have a Soros-backed DA, and the whole thing. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end, and we'll win, because our country's gone to hell. We don't have the same country anymore. We have a divided mess. We're a nation in decline, serious decline. Millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now from prisons and from mental institutions, terrorists.